Hello everyone, this is Sampurna. I'm back after a long time with a new video on cells detailed structure, which will be in the continuation of the cells, my previous video. Here I will deal with the major parts of the cell. So let's dive into it. To start with, let me give an introduction to cell organelles and the main organelles in a cell. The cell organelles are the subunits present inside the cell which have a specific function to perform inside the cell. Various cell organelles include the cell membrane, cell wall, which is a special organelle of the plants and some fungi, algae and bacteria, cytoplasm, which contains nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, mitochondria, lysosomes, chloroplasts and vacuoles are special parts of the plant cells. All these organelles are essential for the functioning of the cell. First of all, let's see the cell membrane in detail. It's the outermost flexible living organelle of the cell, which acts as the outer covering of the cell. This is the main structure of the cell membrane. It is composed of lipoproteins and carbohydrates and having a thickness of 7.5 to 10 nanometer. It has mainly two functions. First, protecting the constituents of the cell and keeping away unwanted substances. Second, it acts as a semi-permeable membrane allowing only selective substances inside the cell such as essential nutrients. The second is the cytoplasm. It is a jelly-like substance within the cell. It's mainly made up of water, proteins, lipids, nucleic acid, inorganic salts, and many more substances. Most chemical reactions occur inside the cytoplasm. This gives a cushioning effect to the organelles and comprises all of them. Now let's talk about the cell's most important part. It's the headquarters called the nucleus. It's usually a double-membraned cell organelle containing DNA and instructions necessary for the processes being held inside the cell. It is interesting to know that the nucleus has been discovered by the Scottish botanist Robert Brown in 1831 while he was observing the structure of orchid cells. It is surrounded by the nuclear envelope. Inside the nucleus are thin thread-like structures called chromosome, which carries genes. Genes is the hereditary unit in the organisms. Genes are made up of helical structures called deoxyribonucleic acid, commonly known as DNA. It carries genetic instructions for the development, growth, and the reproduction functioning of all organisms. Each of these double helix is composed of 4 nucleobases, namely adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Nucleus has mainly 2 functions: storing the DNA inside it and coordinating sending signals to other organelles for performing cellular activities. Next, we will talk about the cell's factory, also known as the endoplasmic reticulum. It is a complex network of tubular membranes exclusively present in the cytoplasm of a eukaryotic cell. The ER are broadly of 2 types, namely the smooth ER and the rough ER. The smooth ER has a smooth surface. It has tubular form participating in the production of phospholipids. These phospholipids are chief lipids in the cell membrane essential for the metabolism process. Lipids are actually large group of organic compounds that are oily to touch and insoluble in water. Another function of the smooth ER is to transport products of the rough ER to other cell organelles, mainly the Golgi apparatus. The rough ER has embedded ribosomes within its structure. Ribosomes are the small particles which are the main sites of protein synthesis and found all over the rough ER and the cytoplasm. This imposes a rough appearance and hence its name. Rough ER synthesizes and secretes proteins in liver, hormones, and other substances in the glands. They are prominent in cells where protein synthesis happens, as these ERs help in the protein folding and protein sorting. Also known as the Golgi complex, this organelle, Golgi body or the Golgi apparatus is responsible for transporting, modifying, packaging lipids and proteins to target destinations. This particular organelle is common for both plant and animal cells. Structurally, Golgi apparatus is composed of a series of 5 to 8 cup-shaped membrane with covered sacs called the cisternae. Next, the powerhouse of the cells is called the mitochondria. This particular organelle produces energy-rich molecules for the cell. Morphologically, mitochondria is double-membraned, sausage-shaped in a common structure in eukaryotic cells. In cells, mitochondria are the sites where aerobic respiration occurs, producing energy in the form of ATP, thereby helping in the transformation of molecules. Example, glucose gets converted into ATP, which is also known as adenosine triphosphate. It's particularly interesting that humans inherit their mitochondrial DNA from the mothers only. Another interesting organelle is a lysosome. Also called as the cell's suicidal bag, the structure ranges from 100 nanometer to 600 nanometer in dimension. Lysosome especially gives a protection to the cells from the pathogens. Another chief function of lysosomes is to digest worn-out cells through an inherent process called autolysis. Also known as the plasma membrane or the cytoplasmic membrane. The cell wall is specifically permeable to selective materials in and out of cell. Apart from this, the cell wall also provides a rigid structure to the cell, protecting the inner contents. It also gives the strength to the cell. This cell wall is not found in the animal cells but in the plant, bacteria, algae, and the fungi cells. Next are plastids, another organelles containing the pigments. Depending on the type of pigments, plastids are mainly of 3 types: chloroplasts, chromoplasts, and leucoplasts. Chloroplasts are present in the plant leaf cells storing chlorophyll, a typical pigment required for the photosynthesis. The chromoplast includes carotene and other which give plants their characteristic color like yellow, orange, or red. A colorless plastid are the leucoplasts that stores nutrients like carbohydrates, protein, etc. found in plant cells. Vacuoles are membrane-bound, fluid-filled organelles of irregular shape. It serves in storing nutrients of food that might be required for the plant to survive. Some vacuoles are also store the waste. Typically, animals and plant cells have different sizes and number of vacuoles. However, compared to animals, plant cells have more number of vacuoles in their cells. The information shared through this presentation have been collected from these sources, which primarily include academic or government organizations. I believe I could provide a deeper insight on cells and its parts with a touch on the make and functioning of the cell organelles. From my core, I thank you all for your patience. I would request you to stay tuned for more in my upcoming video on the same interesting topic.